not ERP area. So that we also have to consider. Okay. So now what it was like initially we just try to give an overview of the SQL first of all. Okay. So SQL stands for Structured Query Language. Okay. So this is a language for database. So in the market, if you observe, we have a larger number of databases. So can you name any of the database? I mean, of course, Oracle. Apart from this, do you know any other databases?
Microsoft,
Okay.
MySQL.
Microsoft is a company name, and their product name is SQL Server. Okay. IBM is a company name. Their database DB2, MySQL.
Yeah.
Right. And these are some of the popular
Yeah.
databases in the market. So now almost all the database uses SQL language. Of course, there is a little bit variant. Nothing but like SQL is a standard which is provided by the some consortium. So Oracle may have some specialized functions which are applicable for only Oracle database, and Microsoft also may have their own specialized function which is applicable for only Microsoft database. That's not that way. And even SAP is also having its own database for SAP HANA. Okay. So now in the SQL, like what is the purpose of using a SQL language? Because as we understand that database understands only SQL language. So when you say language, in the terms of database, what is the purpose of database? What is the simple purpose?
To collect,
Yeah.
to store the data.
Yes, perfect. To store the data, but and also efficient retrieval. This is one of the major important purpose. For storing, because like a storage, we can store anywhere. We can store in the file system also, right? But why do they prefer database? Because efficient retrieval as well as manipulation. That is a major purpose. Efficient retrieval as well as manipulation as well as of course the storage. Okay? Storage of data, manipulation as well as retrieval. Isn't it?
Okay.
And of course the creation also. Creation nothing but like considered as storage. That is a major purpose. Creation, retrieval, storage. So now what is the simple difference between SQL and PL SQL? When SQL is there, why does a new language come into picture? When SQL is already there, why does PL SQL come into picture? So one of the basic purpose of the PL SQL is a programmatical flavor. It's a programmatic flavor of SQL. Because SQL does not have the conditional logic and it does not have the loops. No loops, no condition but to little extent. So that is why this programmatic flavor came into picture. For the conditional purpose and stored program concept. There are many other purposes. There are many other reasons why PL SQL came into picture. Every database, PL SQL especially is a proprietary language of Oracle database. It's a proprietary language of Oracle database. In other databases also you have some set of programming language, but they may have a different name. If you consider Microsoft SQL, they generally call it as T-SQL. So every database is also having the programming language apart from the SQL. Apart from the SQL, they also have some programmatical language. Okay, that could be quite different one, but we'll be concentrating more on the Oracle database perspective. So let's get into SQL now. Let's get into SQL. 1 minute. Yeah. So let's get into SQL. So in the SQL area, what are the major things you have to consider? So one thing is we use SQL for the purpose of retrieving data, nothing but using select clause, and used for the purpose of manipulation. How do you manipulate? Insert, update, as well as delete. Right? And how do you create the metadata? So that we'll look into it later. In the SQL again, if you consider, there are again it is subdivided into some set of languages like DDL, DML, or TCL, something like that. But as of now, don't concentrate on those things. Initially, try to concentrate on the select part first of all. Initially, try to concentrate on the select part. So we'll just see how exactly we can retrieve the data. So in the database, what are the basic database objects? In the database, what are the basic database objects?
Basic database are create tables.
Table is one of the objects. Any other database objects which you are aware?
Columns.
View, then on it,
This,
right? Filters.
yeah.
So these are the general objects which you consider, which we generally call them as database objects. So now, so what is a database? Database is software, isn't it? Database is software. And so what, when you install a database, database runs in a specific port number as well as and host name. Nothing but computer name I can say, or your server name. So when you install database, now I'll show you one simple example. Now let us say if somebody says, okay, can you connect to my database? Somebody says that, like your manager says that, okay, can you connect to the production database and can you get me the data? So what is the basic thing you have to ask them? The basic thing is for any database, we'll always talk about Oracle database in our scenarios. So if you want to connect to some any of the Oracle databases, first basic thing is we have to ask them what is the host name, what is the SID, what is the username and password. Okay, and also the port number. So these are the important properties which you require when you want to connect to any database, I mean especially on the Oracle in our case. So now I opened
Okay.
the tools. Like what are the tools we use for the purpose of connecting database? What are the tools we use? We can use a
Or
SQL developer, Toad or SQL Plus.
which one is the good, like which one is mostly used in?
See, it all depends upon the client because Toad is a licensed version which is not a free, but SQL Developer as well as SQL Plus which are free tools. So this one SQL Plus is a very old version. Generally, it's just a like no graphical interface. You do not have any graphical interface, so it is rarely used. But you'll try to use this one when you are you're working on an image system, and
Okay.
you can prefer either Toad or SQL Developer. It all depends on the client.
Okay.
Okay. So what is this tools are called? Did you ever read this word IDE?
No.
Integrated Development Environment. So this generally like IDE is nothing but kind of a tool, a graphical tool which we use for the purpose of connecting to some system.
Okay.
Okay. So now in our case, this is our IDE. SQL Developer is our IDE which I am connecting to database. Now if you observe, now to connect a particular database, I require my entries. So here what I will do is once I open my SQL Developer, I have to create a connection if it is not there. So right click on this one, just create a new connection. Now here if you observe, I have to mention all these properties, then only I can connect to the database. So here I can mention
Okay.
my connection name, it can be any name here, apps connection. Now here I have to mention the database username as well as password. In my case, the username is apps and password is also apps. And here I have to mention the host name, nothing but my server name where my database is running. So this is my database server. And I have to mention the port number and also have to mention the SID. So this is system
Okay.
identifier. So just test it. It should be success. Got it?
Okay.
And you can just click on save. This will get saved. So it does not need to re-enter every time. You can also click on save password. So it will not ask you again when you save the password. Right? Now I open the connection. So if you right click on this one, right click here and click on connect. So it will open a new worksheet. We generally call this as worksheet. So in this one you can write your programs and you can execute whatever the programs which you write and whichever you execute that will get executed for this particular database. Whichever database you selected here, in that particular
Okay.
database, the data will the commands will be executed. Okay.
Okay.
Now here in our case, what is the username I used? I mentioned what is the username I mentioned? Apps and password is also apps. What is the port I mentioned? 1521.
152. Okay.
SID VIS.
Yes.
Okay.
Okay.
So here, what is the basic thing you have to understand is, so generally this username is also called schema in Oracle database. So like every like one simple example can you tell you is like when you install your operating system. Simple example. When you install operating system, you'll have a normal user, right? Like you'll have the admin user, you'll have a guest user with appropriate privileges, isn't it?
Okay.
And the same way in the database also, you have some set of users. We generally call users nothing but schema in database. Users are nothing but schema. So in Oracle in databases also we have a specialized user called system sysdba. We have a specialized user called sysdba. He will have all the access.
Okay.
If you observe, when I create a connection, when I creating a connection, I mention here what is the connection type. Sorry, what is the role? So we have a role called sysdba. Can you see?
Okay.
If the role is DBA, you will have all the permissions. If you have all the permissions, generally that will not be shared with the developers. They are maintained by only DBAs. They will never be shared with the developers. That will be maintained by only the DBAs. Okay.
Okay.
So every database will have a set of users. A database will have a set of users, and each user will have a database object. Each user will have a database object. Got it?
Okay.
Every database will have a set of users, and each user will have a database object, and each object can have its own data. But in general, in database, only table can have the data, right? Remaining all the objects are for the metadata purpose. They will never store any data. They will never store any data. In the database, the only object which stores the information is only table, isn't it?
Yeah.
Right? The table is the only object which can store the information. There is no other object which can store information. Okay. So in
Okay.
our case, like I have my database server name is glo.dev.com. So I'm connected, I have connected using a user called apps, multiple my schema. And just observe any table, just observe one of the table here. I have a table called, I have a table called FND users. Now I just connect with this particular table, so let's start from FND underscore users. So it is user. Okay.
All these tables are automatically they will stored in the database or?
Yeah. See, when you install Oracle, see now why when see, first of all when you install Oracle, when you install any of the database, by default you may not have any data. First of all. By default,
Okay.
you may not have any data, but there are some set of system tables which are available. There will be some set
Okay.
of system tables. So there is something called metadata concept, metadata tables. When you install Oracle database, even if you don't create any table, by default you will have the database tables. You can also observe in your system, like there are some set of tables called all underscore users. So this will list down the list. This will list all the schemas. List all
Okay.
the users or schemas you can call it as. This other table, other metadata table called all underscore tables. This will list down list of all tables in the database. Okay, this will list
Okay.
all the tables throughout the database, not to a specific user. But if you want to see tables of only this particular user, now who is the username? Who is the username here? With which user I have logged in?
Apps.
So if I want to see the data, if I want to see the list of tables which are belonging to this particular user, what I can do? I just need to mention select all
Select.
start from user underscore table. That's it. So by default, whenever you run this query, based on the current logged in user, it will show only the data of that particular user. That means the list of tables of only that particular user.
Okay.
Okay. So these are all metadata tables. All underscore user, all underscore tables, user underscore table. These are all called metadata tables. Okay.
Okay.
Many things are
There,
there.
we no need to like create any table like that, right?
No, we have to create. These are the objects which are used by Oracle database. It's not for the transaction purpose, first of all.
Okay.
So do you understand what
If
the transaction means? You know, right?
yeah.
So whenever let us say in your Oracle ERP system, when you create a purchase order, there is a business transaction, right? That has to be stored in some database. So these
Okay.
particular databases, these particular tables, I mention it as metadata tables. Why? Because these are the tables which are used by Oracle database for the internal purpose. Metadata
Okay.
tables, metadata tables. These are not for transaction purpose, not for the transaction data.
Okay.
These are the internal tables.
I had a question like if you use the same table name as when you're doing transaction, it will take it or not?
See, the object name should be unique. If now let us say the table all underscore table is okay. You can consider dual, or maybe you can consider user underscore table. This particular object is already there means it will not allow you to create the same object again.
Okay.
An object name should be unique across the database
Okay.
in a given schema. In a given schema, the object name is unique.
Okay.
That is how it is listed. Okay. So these are the basic metadata tables, not the transaction tables. Okay. Let's consider a very simple table. Now I have a table which is already created in my system in my database, EMP table. So now, if you observe here, like when I mention select star from EMP, so like what is this all about? What is this select keyword? What is this from keyword is all about? So what do you understand by this particular thing?
We are selecting the table from the database employee.
Yeah. So EMP is a table which is available in our database. That is the first thing.
Yeah.
Okay. And so here, if you observe, there are two keywords. One is select keyword, as well as the other is from keyword. So from is a keyword. From is a keyword after which we have to mention the source data, from which table you want to retrieve the data. So what after the from clause, we generally call them as clause. After the from clause, we just mention the what is the source of your information, from which table you want to retrieve the data. So here I mentioned the EMP as my table name, and after that, before that I mentioned select star. So when you say select star, it is nothing but I just want to retrieve all the columns. So what are the database table content? When you say table, what are the table content? Table
Columns and
content,
rows.
yeah, list of records. Okay.
Yeah.
What is a record? A record is a list of columns, right?
Yeah.
So what is the column? The basic data. So what is the difference between data and information? What is the difference between data as well as information?
Information we are storing in data.
So do you think there is both are difference? First of all,
No, same.
if both are same, why they have two words? They are not synonymous. First of all,
Data comes all from the
which comes
table,
first?
right?
Which comes first? Data or information?
Data comes first.
Yeah, perfect. So data is nothing but unprocessed information, I can say,
Okay.
or you can say raw fact, a fact. Okay. So this is nothing but processed data. Okay. So whatever the generally like when you say report in the normal Oracle ERP, and when they always say that reports, right? Something like reports. So
Yeah.
reports nothing but what are the data which is available in database, which we represent in appropriate manner which a business requires. That is why we call it as report. A report is nothing but a process information, process data. A report is nothing but a process data. Nothing but we will not manipulate first of all. We will not manipulate the data. We are representing the data in appropriate manner where business can understand.
Okay.
Okay. Yeah. So coming back to next, now if you observe, now here can I modify this query to get all the employees who are having a salary greater than 500. I want to list down, get the list of employees who are getting salaries greater than 500. What is the way you have to write it?
Mm, select star from
Yeah,
where
yeah.
EMP number is
So here
greater than
what
5.
is no, no, understand here. Get the list of employees. So nothing but I want to get all the employees, right? Get the list of
Okay.
employees. But what is the filter criteria here? I want to get only those employees. I want to get only those employees whose salary is greater than 500. Nothing but on which column I have the condition? On which column? Salary column, right?
Salary column.
So nothing
Salary.
but salary greater than 500.
Yeah.
Right. Now if you observe how many rows it is retrieving, right click on this one, click on count rows, it displays the number of rows. So I'm getting 15 rows. I got 15 rows here.
Okay.
Now if you see the earlier case, just checking how many rows are there here. 16 rows. So there is one row, there is one employee who is getting a salary less than 500,
Yeah.
less than or equal to. So do you know how to execute the query or
Yeah.
you know, right?
Yeah.
Yeah. So we can save this file also. Just click on save and just click on any location. You can mention the file name here. Let's go with the file extension as SQL. Okay.
If I want to start all the I have to start from basic, right? Employee number, ename, everything I have to create it and to insert data, right?
Yeah, of course. Yes, that is correct. Now, as of now, I already have the data, so I already have the table. So
Yeah.
then, I'm displaying this one. But if you don't have the database table, then yeah, we have to create the table. We have to insert the data. Then we have to write the script.
Okay.
Initially, let's work on the select field. Don't worry about the creation of this. That is very easy first of all. Retrieving data is a major difficult job. Insertion is always easy. Retrieving is a major problem. Okay.
Yeah.
Now let's get the list of employees. Get the list of employees who belong to department number 10 or 20. I want to get all those employees who belongs to the department number either 20 or 10. So what do you think I have to write here?
Okay.
How to write the field for this?
Select star from MP where department number equal to 10 and 20.
And or.
You want to take both or like all one who belong to department 10 or 20? Okay. Or
One more thing, understand here logically, if I write 10 and 20 also it will never work, isn't it? Because an employee can belong to only one department at any point of time.
okay.
As
If
per
you want to
the,
take both of department numbers, you have
if you mention and condition, you never get any data. Now let us say
okay.
you mention and, you'll never get any data. Why? Because as per the EMP table, that is how it is. An employee belongs to only one department. That is how they have written.
Okay.
Okay, it all depends upon the data. It's not that whether it's not correct or not is right. The thing is, it all depends upon the data how it was created.
Okay.
Now, if I, as per my requirement, I just want or, right? So I just need to mention yes or. So now what is happening? I'm getting all the data where the employees either belonging to either 10 or 20.
Okay.
Right. Now I can write this particular same query another way also. I can write the same query another way. Nothing but like what I say is I want to get all the list of employees who belong to 10, either 20
Yeah.
or 30 also. If that is the case, then
When
so my
can use
my
when?
R class becomes increasing, right? My R class become increasing. What is the easiest way I can do is I can just mention 10, 20, 30. I can mention a set. I can mention a set here. Set.
Okay.
Right? In clause, this is nothing but in is another keyword, or you can call it as clause. In clause followed by the list of data items. You can mention the list of data items. That's it.
Okay. If you write like select star from employee when department number equal 10 and when can you use we can use when clause like
Sorry.
we can use when clause when.
When is again a different one. When is generally that is used for the purpose of query storage purpose. It's not exactly storing also. It's nothing but what I can say. It's kind of nothing but you're writing it.
Comparison,
Sorry.
it use in comparisons or
No, no, no. It is for the purpose of referring to the same query. If you are, let us assume that you are writing a bigger query, and if you want to use the same portion multiple times, in those kind of scenarios, we use that particular clause, then clause.
okay.
I'll do that. I mean, I could not get it, but I'll try to do this. Okay. Now here, in our case, like in the above conditions, we have used where clause, right? So what is the
Yeah,
purpose of this one? Is it filtering the rows or columns? Is it
rows.
right? It is filtering the rows, right? If you want to filter the columns, what should I do? If I want to filter the columns, what should I do?
Select star from MP.
No, nothing but I want to show only the employee number as well as e-name. I don't want to show all the columns. What should I do? I just need to mention EMP name, e-name, right? EMP number, e-name, like this.
Yeah.
Nothing but select clause is used for the purpose of filtering the columns, and the where clause is for the purpose of filtering the rows. That is the difference.
Okay.
Where clause is for the purpose of filtering the rows, and this particular select clause is for the purpose of filtering the columns. That is the difference.
Okay.
Okay. Now this is called single line of comment. This is called single line of comment. Okay. And for multiple lines of comment, you can just use this syntax.
Okay.
Multiple lines. So whatever you write it will not validate.
Okay.
Okay. Now one more thing here. Let us say I want to retrieve all the employees who does not have manager. I want to retrieve all the employees who does not have manager.
Okay.
How to write the query?
Select star from EMP where
So manager is a keyword in which it will store the manager ID for each and every employee.
yeah
So this is the record there. For each and employee, you will have a keyword, the column called manager. In that, you have the manager ID. So I want to
yeah
list down those employees who does not have a manager. Nothing but I don't have manager value. So I just want to list down those particular employees who are not having a manager. So how should I write the query?
you can go not equal to minus
Is it correct? Nothing but manager does not have value. Nothing but null, right?
yeah
Nothing but I want to get all the employees whose manager is none, whose manager value is none. Isn't it?
okay
Okay. It's not working. But logically it is correct. Logically it is correct. So what is the solution is? You have to mention is. When you're trying to compare, whenever you're comparing any of the value with a null, always we have to use is keyword. Is equal to the not null.
okay
There is no difference. Whenever you're trying to compare any of the columns with a null value, you should never use is equal. It will not work. You have to use is.
okay
Okay, that's the difference. Now the same way can I get one more query? Get all the employees who does not have department. So what is the way I have to write the query?
select star from employee where department is called null
Department
number is
is none.
okay
Is none. Understand this?
yeah
So what is the other ways? Like a vice versa, like get all the employees who are having department number. I can just write is not none.
okay
Right? Opposite.
okay
Got it?
yeah
So the only thing is when you're trying to compare with a null, always you have to use is keyword. That's the only difference. Now, if you observe, we have been using in the select in the normal retrieval purpose. As of now, our concentration is only on the retrieval purpose. So, in the retrieval
okay
purpose, the major important keywords, or I can say clauses, one is select, from, where,
okay
profile, having, and then monitor. These are the very much important clauses which are available in the retrieval purpose. As of now,
okay
we have covered the first 3 points. Basically, not totally, but basically, initially. So
okay
let's concentrate on the group by now. Okay. So in the
okay
group by, what is the purpose of group by? What is the purpose of group by? Before getting into what is group by, I'll tell you scenarios where you generally come across group by. Now assume that
okay
in our case we have around 16 employees, right? We have 16 employees.
yeah
Now assume that you have a requirement to display the number of employees under each department. You have a
okay
requirement to display the number of employees under each department. Now assume that initially before proceeding to this one, let us say you have a requirement to display number of employees in department 30. Assume that we have a requirement to display the number of employees in a particular department. So if you want to display the number of employees in a particular department, what we can do? We can simply
select
write like
star
this.
from employee where
Select
department
from
number is called 30 is 30
is equal to 30. So this is how we can get the number of employees, isn't it? Now I got the 7. isn't it?
Okay. Yeah.
Now, our requirement is here, the next line number 59, what I mentioned here is, I want to display the number of employees under each department. Nothing but, I want to show my department number as well as I want to display the count also. I want to
Okay.
display the number of, nothing but in the output, I want to display department number like this as well as count. Like this I want to display. Nothing but I want two columns.
Okay.
Understanding the general requirement, understand this from the general, what you say, in general logical scenario. Assume that, assume that there is a room. In a room there are 20 employees. Okay. Now each particular employee belongs to a specific department. Now you are a monitor to find out the number of employees in each department. What is the way you solve this particular problem?
You have to mention the department number
No, no. I'll,
and
I'll,
count
I'll
count
repeat it.
star department
No,
number.
no. Don't go into SQL area now. Then
Okay.
understand a normal scenario. Let's say that there is a room and there are 50 employees in that, and each particular employee will have the employee number and he is also belong to a specific department. So you are a
Okay.
supervisor. You just want to count the number of employees under each department. So what is the first thing you do it first of all? How do you count the number of how do you count the employees under each department?
Using employee number. No, it's not correct.
You tell me, will that solve the problem or not, first of all? If you're logical, don't consider database level now. Consider that in front of you there are 20 employees and you want to count
Okay.
the employees in each particular department. Without segregating, can you count first of all? You tell me that. Without grouping them,
Individually.
yeah, you have to group them into groups, right?
Yeah.
You understood what I'm saying? You have 20 employees. Each employee belongs to a specific department. Assume that 20 employees are there. In that 20 employees, each belongs to a specific department, and you want to count the number of employees in each particular department.
Okay. Okay. We have to separate into
Yeah,
groups,
yeah.
different
So
groups, and then we have to count it.
then you have to count, isn't it? So now this.
Yeah.
So now here in this case, we have seen the earlier case without grouping here. Line number 56, we just count the data without grouping. Now we want to count the data by grouping. So what I have to do is I have to mention count of star, but on what basis you want to group by?
Department number.
That's it.
Okay.
I have all the data now. You can display the department number also here. Right?
Okay.
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 So this is the purpose of the group by. So nothing but now what's happening here. So this count is getting operated on all the rows or only the group rows.
Only group rows.
So first of all, grouping is done, right? First of all, like
Yeah.
if you observe in this now, how many clauses I have? I have select clause, I have the from clause, I have the group by clause. In this one, which is
Okay.
getting executed first? Which is executed first of all?
First is counting all the, then it is
How
separating
can
and
you
this.
one basic thing here? How can you count without having data first of all? You have to get the data, isn't it?
Okay.
First of all, from clause will be done. You have to get the
Okay.
data, then
Okay.
perform the group by, then remaining logic will come into picture, isn't it?
Okay. Yeah.
You need to understand logical way, not just the presence of these particular, the one by one keyboards. Okay.
Yeah.
So now let's get into one more thing now. Now, what is the thing is, I want to find out the number of employees under each manager. Requirement is display the number of employees under each manager. So what is the way I can do this?
Under each. Okay. Select star from employee.
I just want to display only manager number as well as count.
Select manager.
Okay.
Count star where group. Sorry. Count star from employee where group by manager.
That's it. Okay.
Yeah.
Got it?
Yeah.
So One more query. Write a query to display the list of employees based on joining date. Now I have the table, I have the hire date. So now what I want to do is, as a recruiting manager, what I want to do is, I just want to find out on a particular date how many employees are joined on a particular
Okay.
date. It can be any number of dates. I just want to find out the date as well as the number of employees on a particular date.
Okay, we have to select two employees and date. Select employees,
Mention hire date, comma.
count star from employee, group by hire date.
Okay. Now one more twist came into picture, and the recruiting manager says that no, I just want to find out those hire dates where the number of employees who join on a particular hire date greater than two.
Okay.
Now the requirement is the same thing here. Write the number of employees, write the field data display the number of employees based on hire date, provided the number of employees join are greater than two. So what should I do now?
Okay. Select hire date, count start greater than two from employee, group by hire date.
Sorry, where which greater than two? Where what is the? How can I mention where clause? On which column I have to mention? On which column I have to
Greater than employee number two.
employee number means?
You have the column employee number
Yes.
here
Where?
where employee number is greater than two.
Understand here. Employee number is nothing but your employee number. It's not the count, right? Understood?
Yeah.
Employee number means it's an employee ID. It's not just a number. So now it is who is first of all here the number of employees. This is a count. This is you're saying about number. Isn't it? Got it? Understood what I'm saying?
Yeah.
So now we want to mention the condition on the group data, isn't it? We want to write a condition on the group data. So whenever you want to write a condition on the group data, what you have to do is you have to use having clause. Having count of star greater than 2, that's it. If there is no employee, nothing but like we don't have any high date where the number of employees joined are greater than 2. Let's try with is equal to. But so only on 3rd December 1981, there are 2 employees joined.
Okay.
You got it?
Yeah, we are selecting the employees who are joined on the same date, right?
Yes, right.
Okay.
Let's try one more thing. So write a query to display the salaries paid to each department. Nothing but of course each employee belongs to a specific department. Now we just want to get the sum of salaries based on a department wise. Okay?
Yeah.
You want to get a list of salaries based on a department wise. So what should I do?
Select salary.
Sum of salaries, comma, department number from EFT, group by department number. Okay. So now I'm getting the department number followed by the salaries paid to each department. You got it?
Okay. Yeah.
Now what I want to do is I just want to find out those departments where the salary is paid are greater than 10,000. I want to get only those particular departments where the salaries paid are greater than 10,000. So how should I modify it? How should I modify the above field to get the data?
Sum of salary greater than, select department number, sum of salary greater than 10,000.
So where do you mention where that greater than 10,000? From clause, group clause, having clause, where do you mention that? Where should I mention that?
Having,
Yeah. So where is your having comes into picture? Having comes into picture after group by. Just remember this.
yeah,
Having. So it all depends upon whether you want to consider a condition on a group data or a single row. That is what you have to understand. Whether the
okay,
condition is based on the group data or a single row. Now let us say, here assume that they have mentioned where department belongs to 10, 20, then where I have to write this condition? If they say, just try to find out the salaries of only these particular departments, then what should I do?
before group by we have to write.
Right. Okay, so that you have to have a clarity. So you need to understand which thing you have to write as a group clause, which thing you have to write as a where clause. That is the only difference you have to clearly understand. If you know that, that's it. Okay. So this is a sequence. If you have all the classes mentioned, this is a sequence you have to follow.
Okay,
And out of this, which are mandatory, right? These are the two
yeah,
things which are mandatory. Any select query in the Oracle database requires these two things.
okay,
Fine?
yeah,
Got some idea?
yeah, got it.
So as of now, don't worry about like how do you insert the data, how do you all those things. Try to work on these things, major important parts. And the other thing is we have
Okay,
something called concept called join. This is very much important concept.
okay,
Okay. So we have EP join, we have auto join. So these are two important joins which are available in the Oracle database. So outer join again two times, one is left as well as right. Okay. And other things also
okay,
present join as well as partition join. Overall, these are the different joins, but majority times we try to use EP join as well as the outer join. Most of the times we use EP join, outer join.
okay,
Okay. So we'll try to cover these topics in the next class. So time being, what I will do is I'll send you the slides, like what are the things which I told you. I have the slides which are prepared. You just go through them once, okay? And for the joins, like we'll try to cover up in the next class. Then we can start the PLC.
sure,
Mention that you just try to find it, okay?
okay.
Okay, fine.
Okay, fine.
Okay, so what we do is like we'll again meet on the Thursday. Okay, so tomorrow I will not be available. So Thursday